Victim number 5 has come forward, Lonna Drews. Now, she's not the former staffer who came forward anonymously to speak out about being raped by Eric Swalwell twice in 2019 and 2024, but their stories are similar. Now, this survivor, Lonna Drews, was living and working in LA as a model in 2018. She also owned a fashion software company. Swalwell had offered to make introductions in Silicon Valley. Now, she also had an interest in local politics and was considering a run for city council. Now, she and Swalwell met to attend a political event. They had met twice before, and she viewed him as a friend. She was in a committed relationship and would never cheat. Now, she knew Swalwell was married and that his wife was pregnant. Lonna Drews had one drink. She believes he drugged her drink. He made up a story saying he needed to get papers from his hotel room. When she arrived at the hotel room, she already felt incapacitated. She couldn't move her arms or her body. He raped her. Then he choked her until she lost consciousness. Now here's Lonna Drews.
I did not consent to any sexual activity, although I did not undergo a rape kit. At the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me. I also recorded these events in my handwritten calendar. The assault and its impact were later documented during my therapy sessions at a sexual assault center in Connecticut. It had a profound impact on my mental health. I self-medicated in an unhealthy way. I did not want to live anymore. I cried all the time for years. And I was considering a run for city council, which placed me in proximity to political figures and events and added to the pressure to remain composed and silent.
Well, she's speaking out now. Right after this press conference, Drews and her attorney made a police report. Now, the LA County Sheriff's Department's Special Victims Unit says they're investigating a case involving a female adult who reported being sexually assaulted by Eric Swalwell. The investigation remains in its preliminary stages and is ongoing. Now, here's more from Lonna Drews.
My delay in taking action against Eric was driven by fear, not doubt. Fear of his political power, his background as an attorney, and his family law enforcement ties.
Now, his family law enforcement ties won't help him now, and Swalwell can expect to be disbarred as an attorney after a felony rape conviction. Now, that's what abuse of power brings to the abuser, ultimately. Now, he's already resigned from Congress to avoid an ethics investigation by the House, which almost certainly would have led to a criminal referral to the DOJ and a federal felony prosecution. Now, his resignation deprived the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro, the chance to prosecute him on ethics charges. However, the U.S. Attorney said this.
Well, I think that what happens is victims who are alone and are suffering become empowered when they see that other victims come forward. And I think that's what we're seeing across the country, in Manhattan, in California. I think we're up to 5, maybe 6 at this point. And what I think is really important right now is for anyone who has any relevant information or has any complaint as it relates to the kinds of complaints we're hearing about with Eric Swalwell needs to come forward to my office. You know, if you hear about someone who is allegedly drugging, choking, raping victims, who has lived in this district for a significant period of time, I would expect there would be victims who might have information.
So there might be a prosecution of Swalwell in D.C. after all. Now, arguably, it's worse for the defendant to serve prison time in the state system because federal prisons are typically safer and cleaner, which is not to say they're safe and clean, just safer and cleaner than state prisons. Now, in my view, though, it's unlikely he would have to join a prison gang for protection. Now, federal and state prisons have policies to keep high-profile inmates separate from the general population or in low-security or minimum-security facilities. Now, in the federal system, they call that Club Fed. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell is in a Club Fed, for example. The feds want to keep her alive for potential testimony. Now, regarding Swalwell, his testimonial value hasn't been widely discussed yet. Now, at this point in time, it's just that he could become a target of other inmates. For example, the prison gangs have a blood in, blood out code that requires them to violently injure or kill another inmate or guard to be initiated into the gang. And the only way to leave the gang is through death. So Swalwell could be kept in minimum security for his protection and for his testimonial value. Now, after being charged and taken into custody, he could be placed under suicide watch. Privileged people, for instance, Epstein, now he was never going to adapt to prison life, and the prosecutors, their job isn't only to prosecute and convict. They have a duty to try to keep the perpetrators alive throughout the process because victims and their families and friends demand justice. And for unusual cases like Epstein and Maxwell, they could testify about what happened to some of the victims and about who else could be an accomplice or perpetrator. Now, Swalwell, for instance, could testify about who knew what and when regarding his serial sex abuse crimes. Now, some of his colleagues could be subject to scrutiny for looking the other way or for aiding and abetting. Now, questions are already swirling about House member Ruben Gallego, Swalwell's BFF on Capitol Hill. Gallego says he had no idea what Swalwell was doing. Now, his BFF was just known to be a social, flirty guy. Now, the same questions are being asked of Nancy Pelosi, who was a mentor to Swalwell.
Some Republicans and others are saying that Democrats turned kind of a blind eye, that they knew what he was up to or what the allegations were.
That is absolutely positive. And it's true that they may say that, but it is absolutely not true.
You had no idea?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Now, the statement by Lonna sheds light on the anonymous accuser who came forward last week. Now, she's a former staffer who still works on Capitol Hill, apparently. Now, she spoke about being raped by Swalwell while she was too intoxicated to consent. Now, when she described the second time she was raped by Swalwell in 2024, she said she remembers going to the restroom and then nothing after that. She attributed it to alcohol, but says that when she woke up in his hotel room, she was unaware of her surroundings. That's how intoxicated she was. Now, my question is, did she drink that much alcohol, or was there a date rape drug at play? Now, hopefully investigators can find whoever it was who supplied the alleged date rape drugs to Swalwell. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.